If you're a WWE fan, hit that subscribe button right now because what we're about to break down will change everything you thought you knew about SmackDown's biggest stars. This is the kind of wrestling storyline that reshapes careers, shatters legacies, and forces us to completely reimagine what comes next. Picture this. Drew McINTYRE stands tall in the SmackDown ring, the Glasgow Kisser poised, ready to deliver his finishing blow. The crowd is white hot. This is supposed to be another victory lap for the Scottish Warrior, another stepping stone toward main event relevance. But then the lights flicker. The arena descends into darkness. And when the illumination returns, Drew McINTYRE is on the canvas, broken and beaten, his career hanging in the balance by a thread. But here's what makes this moment absolutely devastating: nobody knows who did it. The mystery attacker strikes with surgical precision, with an intensity that speaks to personal vendetta, to years of bottled rage finally exploding into the light. And as medical personnel flood the ring, as the commentators desperately try to process what just happened, one truth becomes undeniable. Drew McINTYRE's journey has fundamentally changed forever. This isn't just another attack. This is the kind of booking decision that WWE uses when they want to pivot an entire character arc, when they want to inject fresh stakes into a narrative that's been running its course. Drew McINTYRE has been positioned as a top-tier competitor for years now. He's captured championship gold. He's main event premium live events. But somewhere along the way, the story stopped moving forward. The characters started feeling repetitive, the matches started feeling obligatory. The mystery attacker's intervention isn't random. It's precisely the kind of disruption that a veteran storyteller uses to acknowledge that something has to fundamentally change. Think about what this moment accomplishes narratively. In one vicious attack, WWE signals that Drew McINTYRE's era of dominance is finished. Not through a slow fade into irrelevance, but through a shocking, visceral reminder that in professional wrestling, legacy can be stolen in an instant. The Scottish Warrior built his reputation on toughness, on resilience, on the ability to overcome impossible odds. But how do you overcome an opponent you cannot see? How do you battle an enemy who exists only in shadow and mystery? This is where the psychology becomes absolutely brilliant. The mystery attacker has already accomplished something that countless named opponents could never manage. They've made Drew McINTYRE vulnerable. Not physically vulnerable in the traditional sense, but psychologically fractured. Because now every time Drew steps into that ring, he's not just facing his scheduled opponent. He's facing the paranoia, the uncertainty, the constant awareness that somewhere in the crowd, somewhere in the backstage area, somewhere beyond his line of sight, his true nemesis is watching, waiting, planning the next strike. And let's talk about the broader implications for SmackDown. Drew McINTYRE has been a cornerstone of the brand's identity. He represents a certain brand of main event excellence, a certain level of credibility that younger talents aspire toward. By having a mystery attacker neutralize him so completely, WWE is essentially saying that the landscape has shifted. New forces are at play. Old guard wrestlers need to be wary. The establishment that Drew McINTYRE represents is vulnerable to disruption. This booking also opens up extraordinary possibilities for character development. Perhaps this mystery attacker is someone Drew has wronged in the past, a former ally, a family member, someone with deep personal history. Or perhaps it's someone from outside Drew's circle entirely, a rising talent who sees the Scottish Warrior as an obstacle blocking their own ascension. The mystery itself becomes the storyline's greatest asset because every theory, every speculation, every hypothesis keeps fans engaged and invested. Consider also what this means for Drew McINTYRE's potential return. And make no mistake, in professional wrestling, return is always the story waiting to be told. How does Drew process this trauma? Does he come back harder and angrier, seeking vengeance with a single-minded intensity? Does he come back changed, more cautious, more defensive? Does he come back questioning his own abilities, his own place in the hierarchy? The attack isn't the end of the story. It's the devastating midpoint that transforms everything that comes after it. The mystery attacker's identity will eventually be revealed, and that revelation will be one of the biggest moments WWE can execute. Because the right person revealed as the attacker can launch multiple storylines simultaneously. If it's someone from Drew's past, you've got a deep personal feud with years of history to explore. If it's a rising star, you've got a legitimate new challenger establishing themselves as dangerous and willing to cross lines. The attacker's motivation will become the through line of an entire chapter of SmackDown storytelling. What this moment really represents is WWE's acknowledgement that Drew McINTYRE's previous narrative was complete. He'd achieved the goals that storyline was designed to achieve. And sometimes, the most respectful thing a wrestling company can do for a veteran performer is to pivot their story in a new direction before complacency sets in. This isn't about diminishing Drew McINTYRE. It's about rejuvenating his character by putting him through the crucible of uncertainty and pain. The mystery attacker's assault also serves as a reset button for the entire SmackDown card. Suddenly, no one is safe. Suddenly, the notion that your place in the hierarchy is secure becomes questionable. Suddenly, the brand feels dangerous and unpredictable again. That's the effect of a well-executed mystery angle that respects the audience's intelligence while refusing to provide easy answers. As we look toward the future, the question isn't whether Drew McINTYRE will recover. Of course he will. The question is who he'll become when he does. The mystery attacker has inadvertently given Drew McINTYRE the opportunity to rewrite his own narrative, to explore character dimensions that years of being a solid main event performer might have obscured. Sometimes the greatest gifts in professional wrestling come wrapped in violence and delivered under the cover of darkness. This is the kind of storytelling that makes WWE captivating, the kind of unpredictability that reminds us why we fell in love with professional wrestling in the first place. And it all started with a mystery, a question, and the absolute devastation of a man's carefully constructed legacy. If you loved breaking down this storyline with us, please subscribe to WWE Express. We're diving deep into every angle, every implication, and every psychological layer of WWE's greatest narratives. Hit that subscribe button now so you never miss our analysis of the stories that matter, the characters that captivate us, and the wrestling drama that keeps us coming back week after week. Thank you for joining us here on WWE Express.